This is the drone with the Insta360 attached. As you can hear, it's having a lot of trouble and it's wobbling in the video, and the ESCs are overheated. The ESC's overheated. All I was doing was hovering. Massive vibrations and shaking. On the last one I had, it crashed after and you can smell it. You can smell it right up in here. Right up in here. Oh yeah, and this is burning fingers to the touch. Earlier I had already flown it, and I flew it in sport mode, and this barely got warm, but it did not burn your fingers hot. The motors, ow, shit, okay, that's fucking off the charts hot. I would imagine that's the same. But I was flying chasing planes earlier, and these motors were warm. Well, they were hot, but they weren't overly hot, pretty much normal. Now, I understand to lift this weight, it's going to take more power. That's totally understandable. But as it was right now, it won't. I can't do it. Not here in El Paso, Texas. It could be the altitude. It could be the fact that you're in the desert. I'm quite sure that has something to do with it. But I don't dislike SmallRig system, but here in El Paso, Texas, I can clearly tell you, and if you get it for the stickers, great. If you get it for the looks of the fins, great. If you're getting it so you can carry a camera, if you're going to carry this camera, it ain't going to like it. I mean, it was visibly shaking like this. You heard the motor wobble. The ESC is burning up. Now, when I did the repair to this arm from the last mount that mounted on the back, and when it overheated, this motor ripped itself out and caused that damage. It shook even worse. Then I had a mount that mounted right across here, right across this part. It shook almost as bad as that one in the back, but less than where this mount is. It shook less. But when it was mounted here, it shook, and I couldn't get all my GPS signals. This one took a long time to get GPS. For the longest time, it showed 0 on the GPS. And then it slowly started picking them up, and I tilted it back a little, and it gave me more, because the GPS is right around here somewhere. And when I tilted it back, I got my GPS signals, and everything was fine as far as the GPS was concerned. I hovered it, and I noticed it was shaking. And then I reached for this camera, my phone, and in the time it took me to reach for it, and you figure it was sitting on this table, I launched it from that table. The time it took to go from there to over here, press the buttons to tell it to start recording, you saw what happened next, because I was recording. For at least this altitude, my best, and this is only my guess, I don't know. For this altitude here, I do not recommend putting any weight on the top of this drone. I still like their system, but their system is not going to work on this drone. So I like the looks. It didn't cost a fortune to try this, and it didn't wreck anything. So I'm happy with their system. It's not their fault that I'm at this altitude and the problems that I'm having. So I can't recommend it, but that ain't because of them. The other people on YouTube who have done tests, I guess go off of their recommendations. But if you live, I'm in El Paso, Texas. If you're at an altitude like that, in a climate like this, I do not recommend you get this. It will not work, or you will risk something. And I didn't even fly it around. It was hovering. I didn't go anywhere. Imagine if I tried to fly somewhere, and imagine where I would be when the motors failed. when this motor ripped out, I was at hover. And so it caused this motor, the mount, it ripped out of the mount. So all I had to do was order the motor, the arm, the whole thing cost me 47 bucks. And I was able to fix it in about an hour. I noticed that they use cheap thermal paste on this heat sink. I put much better stuff because I'm also a computer geek. So I put much better stuff on it for thermal paste and more of it. And it was hot to the touch. But right now, it's already cooled. It's already cooled. These motors are still burning the hell out of my fingers. Yeah, they're off the chart hot. So that's my review. Take it with a grain of salt. In a desert, El Paso, Texas, altitude, no, 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 and double no. And this is my Insta360. She did not like it, so oh well. I will be buying a drone. I have a 360 drone on the way, where the camera goes inside of the body of the drone. Captain Drone also reviewed it, so I'm going to blame him for talking me into this. Thanks. Okay, my motors have cooled down to only lukewarm. These are cold. So is the ones in the back that seem to be hotter, but these are really no temperature at all. These are just slightly warm. And you figure this is the new motor. It's only just slightly warm. And of course the heat sink is, hell, heat sink is cooler than these two motors, which is about what I'm used to. On that last iteration, this was hot to the touch. I mean, this would burn your fingers, and I've never really felt that. But of course, did get the ESC overheat, and that's where your ESC is. And these motors were just flat out just burning hot. So I'm about to put in a battery. Oh, and I love this. My best review of this one. Simultaneously charges all three at once. Also has two USB. Got it off Amazon. Didn't cost a fortune. Love it. Absolutely love it. I don't know why it stopped charging this. Oh well, that'll be something to look into. And of course, I love this power pack. I have never worn it out. Matter of fact, this is about the lowest I've ever gotten it to go. It's pulling 61 watts. I think it maxes out at 300. And I've flown 5 packs so far. And that's 5, and this is 6, 7, and 8. And it's about to fly. This one is charged. This one's charging, this one's charging. Of course, for some reason, it's showing green. I don't know why. Usually at this point, just to be sure, I unplug it just to get the battery to, because it's got three processes in it. So each battery has its communication line independent. So they charge not one at a time, simultaneously all at once. So love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. My case, my backpack case, love it, love it, love it. My stickers, love them, love them, love them. Pretty much I like everything about my strap, my 3D printed battery clip. Everything's wonderful. Everything's wonderful. Well, let me get this up and see if it flies.